Dear fellow corporate warrior, I used to be you. My MBA hung on the wall. 30 plus years climbing the corporate ladder, making a six-figure salary plus bonuses and stock grants. The kind of career and compensation that makes people say, "You're so lucky," and "You've got it made." But here's what they didn't see. The Sunday scaries that started on Friday. The 5 a.m. wake-ups for office days, followed by 2-hour morning routines just to armor up for another day of building someone else's dream. Long commutes spent either stressing out in advance, trying to release stress before getting home, and feeling like I'm wasting my time, still not having enough time for real self-care or showing up for my family. The slow erosion of my identity until I couldn't tell where Jennifer ended and executive assistant and HR programs manager began. Welcome to a very special episode of the Productive AF newsletter and podcast. Today I'm sharing my midlife career pivot manifesto, how I'm pivoting from corporate warrior to entrepreneurial freedom. First, let's talk about the corporate comfort trap. We tell ourselves stories about golden handcuffs, about being too old to start over, about mortgages and responsibilities and what people will think. I had all those stories too. 2 daughters in their teens and 20s, rent on 2 Seattle East Side homes so high as to be rivaled only by the Bay Area and New York City. A marriage that was circling the drain, student loan debt, and the kind of lifestyle that required every penny of that 6-figure salary. But do you know what's more expensive than leaving? Staying. Staying costs you your health. For me, that included 60 extra pounds, stress-induced headaches, a previously undiagnosed heart condition, and sleep apnea. Staying costs you your relationships. When did you last have dinner without checking emails? Staying costs you the person you were before you became a cog in someone else's machine. The pivot point. My wake-up call came during my physician-assisted weight loss journey. As I shed 30-plus pounds, and counting, I realized I wasn't just losing weight. I was finding myself again. The woman who had built multiple careers across franchising, content creation, and business, both corporate and family-owned. The immigrant who had reinvented herself 3 times over. The mother who wanted to model courage, not compliance. That's when I knew, if I could transform my body at 50 plus, I could transform my career too. The Freedom Framework. Here's what I wish someone had told me before I made the leap. 1. Your experience is your equity. Those 30 plus years in corporate, that's not just a resume. It's a masterclass in systems, leadership, and getting shit done. Your soft skills are actually your hardest assets. 2. Transition, don't quit. I didn't burn bridges, I built new ones. My corporate experience directly informs my content about productivity, time management, and business insights. Your past isn't a prison, it's your platform. 3. Start before you're ready. You will never be ready. I began creating content while still employed, testing my voice and building my audience. By the time I gave notice, I had email subscribers and a clear content strategy. Small? Yes, but it was mine. 4. Redefine risk. The riskiest thing isn't leaving your job. It's staying in a role that's slowly killing your spirit while your industry evolves around you. I had backup plans, COBRA, financial support from family, return to work options. But more importantly, I had conviction. The real numbers. Let's talk money, because that's what keeps most of us trapped. We run the math on salary. We almost never run the math on cost. Yes, I walked away from 6 figures, but I also walked toward 15 plus hours per week of creative time versus stolen moments in the evenings and on weekends. A business model targeting my break-even point. Multiple revenue streams. Coaching, digital products, courses, speaking. The potential to scale beyond any corporate salary ceiling. More importantly, I walked toward alignment. My content now helps high-achieving midlife humans, especially parents and professionals, overcome the same burnout and overwhelm I experienced. Every piece I write, every framework I share, every story I tell, serves people going through exactly what I went through. Your pivot starts now. You don't need to quit tomorrow, though that's what I did, and if you want to, I support you. But you do need to start. Start creating. Start sharing your expertise. Start building something that's yours. Because here's what I know after 50 plus years of life. 3 marriages, multiple career reinventions, and 1 very bold leap. You're not too old, too established, or too comfortable to start over. You're exactly the right age to stop playing it safe and start playing to win. The question isn't whether you can afford to leave your corporate job. The question is, can you afford to stay? Ready to write your own manifesto? If this resonates, if you're feeling that familiar ache of there has to be more than this, then let's talk. I'm building a community of corporate refugees who are trading their golden handcuffs for entrepreneurial freedom. I want to hear from you. Hit reply or comment and tell me, what's the number one thing keeping you in your current role? What would freedom look like in the next 12 months? What's the one thing you need to make a pivot possible this year? I'm building resources for this community, workshops, digital products, and a course designed for midlife reinvention with data, compassion, and zero fluff. Your answers will shape what I create next. I'll also share more about what led up to this pivot, what systems and resources I had in place before I retired from my corporate job, and what life is like now that I'm free from the golden handcuffs. Make sure you're subscribed and following on all the socials so you don't miss what happens next. And share this with someone else who needs to hear this message. Remember, your pivot doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours. Let's make your next chapter your best chapter.